let's go over to Europe and talk about the EU and its dreams of a CBDC. The European Commission published legislation plans to underpin a digital euro on Wednesday. This is live reporting from CoinDesk in Brussels, Belgium. Of course, the European Commission is a separate body from the ECB, the European Central Bank, but it does have to okay a lot of stuff that the ECB is going to do. The ECB, for what's worth, and we've talked about it on the show quite a bit, has been moving forward with CBDC plans. Probably one of the most aggressive bodies to be doing so, actually. The nice bit about this is it does seem that there seems to be some sort of agreement between the ECB and the European Commission on the scope of the CBDC, the importance of it, and also the privacy implications of a CBDC, noting that they shouldn't be able to track or stop certain purchases through this CBDC, but they will retain some programmability within the CBDC, such as allowing for automatic payments at a certain time. Now, there is some contention here, right? We've talked about CBDCs on the show, so the privacy angle is one part. Another part about this is commercial banks who also issue money through their own banking structures. And with a CBDC, you might see a way where the European Central Bank or other central banks are able to cut out the middleman, here being the commercial banks. So it might have some more friction in the future, but for now, it looks like these government bodies are quite on board with making more CBDC news. Jen, I'll throw it over to you.
Yeah, I'm kind of jumping on Zach's train now. It's nice to see the conversation moving forward. I don't think we can avoid a CBDC, but I think that these are all points. Yeah, Zach, raise that roof. Points that we should be talking about. I think some of the things that they're looking to solve based on this report is pretty interesting. They're saying, they want to be able to get this digital money to everyone, everywhere for free. And they wrote addressing people in remote areas, which hasn't really come up in the CBDC discussion that we've had here on the show, at least in the articles that we've spoken about. And I think about people who live in remote areas. They often live far away from banks. They often transact more in cash. And if this can offer a solution to them, I think it's cool. It moves the financial industry in one way, but I'm still very skeptical when it comes to data protection and privacy. I know in this report, they said that data privacy could potentially be, I don't have the exact quote in front of me. They noted higher data protection standards. And I think that it was implied just because, this is now going to be overseen by the government and there would be higher data protection standards there. I don't know if that is necessarily true. We've seen data breaches on a governmental level before. And I don't know that the government is necessarily any better than a private company or a commercial bank. And I am still skeptical when it comes to privacy, even if the payments are taken offline. But who knows? Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Zach, what do you think?
Programmable money, it's going to get weird. We've seen this in China where it's like, hey, we give you the CBDC, you got to send it, but you got to spend it by a certain time or else it goes away, right? That's like the programmability. That's a downside. That's something that a lot of people are scared of, rightfully so, right? But then again, EU, I think, is certainly, acting as they normally do on online privacy, right? It's something that they are active about over in the EU with the GDPR and, cookies and all that jazz. It's something that they think about very thoughtfully, I guess. So it seems par for the course that this would be a big part of their conversation. I guess in a world where like CBDCs exist in different flavors, like these, private cryptocurrencies, which is what sort of the government regulators call it, not private in the sense of like Zcash or Monero, but private in that they're privately issued as opposed to being publicly issued. There could become like, interesting momentum behind private cryptocurrencies because you're going to have this suite of CBDCs that have all this programmability, that have this convenience, potentially have some sort of like government overreach downsides. If everything's digital, then you have this alternative universe of actual cryptocurrencies that don't have any of that stuff, right? They aren't issued by a central bank. They aren't overseen by a political class. They exist transnationally to do stuff. So that is kind of like the Star Wars war that we're going to see, I think, mount over time, especially as CBDCs and digital money just becomes the norm. I think it's going to be people choosing which path of digital money they actually like. Do they want something that has the ease, convenience, and government backing? Or do they want something that isn't at all controlled by the government and can't be snooped on, controlled, or otherwise manipulated to make sure the national economies are operating smoothly? And I think that's really going to be an interesting point in time because right now, maybe the use case for a lot of cryptocurrencies isn't really all the way there yet. But in that context where the CBDC is the other alternative for digital money, certainly decentralized cryptocurrencies become a bit more attractive. So that's, I think, the big picture. We sort of always allude to this big picture, but it is worth expressing that's what things seem to be heading toward. So I'll toss it to Will. I mean, he could like do like a Bitcoin fixes this like rallying cry right now, and that would be sweet.
yeah.
But yeah, curious for his thoughts.
Oh yeah. No, I did think about Bitcoin during this because the article mentions cash, right? And the CBDC stuff always brings up cash. Are we going to have cash in the future? Is cash going to be outlawed? Was the government thinking about cash once we go fully digital? And to the point in this article, they do talk about it, say like, hey, we don't want to be anti-cash, but we're going to have a CBDC. Like, got to get used to that. And they do want to have some elements of cash baked into the CBDC. And that's pretty great, right? Like the fact that you can have basically Apple Pay, but it's really just digital cash on your phone. It's highly convenient. To Zach's point, you can pay your taxes with it really simply. That's nice. But the privacy concerns are always there. And so I think like Bitcoin and some alternative currencies like Zcash, Monero will also exist. The question for those things is, will all the CBDC stuff as it's coming out also be brought along with other regulations that basically make holding these coins illegal or transacting these other coins illegal, these privacy coins, right? That's always been a huge concern for a lot of these people. And that's why they've tried to disseminate and move Bitcoin or move other cryptos into other people's hands, the privacy coins nonetheless. We'll see if that really happens. The thing with privacy coins is no one cares about it. No one cares about privacy until you have to care about it. And I think that could be a reason that they just don't really click with anyone. Last thought on this is exchanges, right? We saw news this morning that KuCoin is going to start forcing mandatory KYC. We're going to see more of this. It's like everything's kind of moving slowly in the same direction. This road to boring is more like a very slow avalanche down the street and picking up all these things along with it. So you're going to have like exchanges do KYC, CBDCs coming out with maybe some privacy tech, privacy coins getting booted. I don't know. It's all kind of nefarious and sad, but you guys are cheering along for it. So I don't know. I'm kind of sad.
Automated taxes.
Taxes, man.
Love
Yeah,
that.
I'm with Zach on that one.
taxes.
I hate it.
Just hit that tax button. Boom, easy button. CBDCs. Thanks.